Hey everybody, it's your favorite Wild PK. Yes, it's Lady Abdullah with some encouraging words for you. So I just finished a conference and I was singing this time and I had a great time. I love singing at different churches and different locations. And it's just to give you a break. You know, sometimes when you're at your own church, sometimes that you can be in a place where you're just working, you know. Just to be honest, sometimes you get to a place where you're just working, you're showing up and you're doing things, and it's not that people aren't appreciative of what you're doing or of how you're serving, but sometimes going into a different atmosphere can give you confidence. And I wanted to encourage somebody today, you know, about saying yes to certain things. We're in a season now where we're saying, you know, set a boundary, say no, and that is good as well. But also say yes to some things. Like a lot of times we'll come up with many excuses to be like, no, I shouldn't do that, or no, I like to say that I'm an introvert. But even putting that label on myself tells me that it's okay for me to be closed off and to be by myself. But the reality is, I don't really want to be by myself. I want to be with people. I feel like I'm a little awkward. And as bubbly and as fun, as loving as I am, and as caring as I am, sometimes I struggle with interacting with people, and that can make me uncomfortable. But the reality behind that is that only one who's self-conscious is me. I mean, it's me putting labels on myself, being overly concerned about what somebody might think, or, you know, it's like, am I dressed right? Is my hair okay? What if we're talking about something that I don't know or understand or familiar with? I don't want to sound silly. I don't want to sound dumb. And it's like, it's this cycle of just making up a situation that has not happened yet. So we can miss our blessing. We can miss the opportunity to make a connection. So here's my my backstory. So I went somewhere, I was singing, and this church, I consider it like another family church for myself, and I love them. I love the people, and they really needed some help. So at my own local church, the one that I go to, I love them as well. I asked them, I was like, hey, on this Sunday, I want to go and support this ministry over here. And I'm so thankful that I have pastors that understand my gift. And as long as the house that I'm in is taken care of, which it is, they understand that this is a part of my own ministry as well, where I go in and I help. You know, helping is pretty much my ministry as a whole. And I was able to go, and, you know, congregation was thankful. Hadn't seen them in a while. They were glad that I came to sing. But when I got there, I was like, something's not right. I'm still missing why I'm supposed to be here. And I talked to one of the new hires that was there, and I was able to pour into that person. And when I did, I was like, I was on assignment for you. That's why I'm here. And I'm so thankful that I didn't miss that chance or that opportunity, because now I have a new connection. I have a new godly relationship, and I was able to pour into someone who felt weak at that moment. And, you know, and they're doing ministry as well. And as challenging as it's been, as frustrating as it's been, and some other things that may be happening behind the scenes that I wasn't privy to, they needed somebody to pour into them. And it was a real healing moment. So the next time God tells you to do something, I want to encourage you to say yes. Just a simple yes. It can be from something as small as greeting somebody, giving somebody a compliment, or encouraging somebody else. Even if God tells you, and I'm a witness for this as well, if you give your tithes and offering and you're like, okay, this is my tithe and this is my offering that I'm giving, and God goes, hey, I know that you have this much money left in your purse, and what I want you to do is I want you to go put it in this person's hand. And you're like, well, God, I need that $20. Like, you know, I've done it. I've done it. So I'm like, God, I really need this 20 because I need to put gas in the tank and I need to, get a gallon of milk and I need to do this. He's like, if you just do what I ask you to do. And I promise you, I've had moments where he told me to give the 20, and because I wasn't hesitant, I just instantly was like, okay, you want me to do this? I'm doing that. Before I even left the sanctuary, like to get in the car I hadn't even hit the doors yet. Somebody was putting money in my hands and it was double what I had given, and that's how amazing God works. He does things instantly. I didn't know that somebody was going to give me money. I didn't know, and I needed it. But I think that he tries us, he tests us to see if we can just do what he asks us to do. It seems like a difficult thing because you can't see him and touch him. And sometimes it's difficult to even hear him or feel him in his presence especially when things don't seem like they're on track. But I promise you, when you lean into what he's telling you and it's him, because normally it's something that makes you uncomfortable and you're not sure and you're like, ugh. But the more you do that, the easier it is for you to do his will. Just to do his will. And when you flow in that vein, that means that you're flowing in obedience. And why wouldn't you want to be obedient to God? Like, really, why wouldn't you want to be obedient to God? If he is the author and finisher of your faith and he knows what's going to happen before you actually do anything, then why wouldn't you just be obedient? It feels like it's going to hurt. Because in my hands, I can use this $20 for exactly what I need it for. But the reality is that I needed more than what was in my hands. You get that? What you really need is more than what's in your hands. All I had that day was $20. And I had wrote off exactly what I needed to spend that $20 on. But when I left, I walked away with $200. And that $200 got me more than the 20 that I gave just from being obedient. Now, I'll tell you this. After that, I ended up giving another $20 because that was my tithe. And I gave $10 as an offering. And this is not to boast. This is not to boast at all. I just want someone to know that, of course, the tithe helps the house of God. Yes, sowing a seed into the ground does reap a harvest. It's like, but sometimes it's just for the obedience. The obedience builds your confidence and your faith in what God promises you. Because when those moments where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how this blessing is going to come through. I don't know how to, I've done everything that I could do it. God, I'm not saying get to work, but sir, it's your turn. It's your turn to get to work. And I mean, I'm frank with God like that. When I talk to him like he's my dad, or he's like, my big bro. Like I talk to him like he's just real to me, and I want to encourage somebody else to do the same. So when God speaks to you, don't hold on to something, or don't take that opportunity because in your mind you can't figure out, well, if I do that, then I gotta spend extra time doing this and doing that, and I don't know what to do and how am I gonna get there. It's like sometimes just saying yes is the first step. God probably has worked out everything for you. Could you imagine that? You saying yes and you're like, well, I don't have a car, and then somebody says, hey, let me ask you this. I noticed you didn't have a car and you wanted to come to church. Well, would you like me to come pick you up? And you'd be like, how did you know that? Because God was already working it out. He was already working it out, right? So let me just pray over you. Father God, we just say thank you for this moment. We say thank you for who you are. We also say thank you for speaking to us. There's so many people who just want a word from you, and they want to hear what you have to say, God. And because of that, when you tell us to do something, I want to encourage all of us. We want to just say yes, God. Yes to your will. Yes to your way. Yes to your promises. Even when I don't understand, yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. Let my yes Ring in my ears when you command me to do something. Let that be bold. Let it be bold enough to cause action to flow out into the atmosphere, God. And let that ripple hit. Let it be like a stone. When I say yes, it hits the water, but the ripples of blessings, the ripples of your favor, the ripples of being in your will, your promises, God. Even my purpose is lined up in those ripples, God. My one yes leads to so many great things, God. Because we know that you are like living water, and you will always restore my soul, God. So the person who's watching this, if they need to be encouraged just to say yes, whether it's to write that book, whether it's to write those songs, sing those songs, whether it's just to be a mom, whether it's just to start their business, whether it is just to have a moment of even rest, God, as simple as just saying, God, I do need to rest. I need to stay at home with my family, God. Let me spend this vacation time just sitting in your presence, whether it's prayer life, God, whether it's fasting, whether it's just being quiet and being still so that you can truly speak, God. We say thank you right now for being the Father that hears our heart, that can find a way out of no way, God. And even when we're afraid to say yes and we push through and we say yes to your will, God, you're a man of your word. You always honor us, God. You always protect us. You keep us. You love on us. You give us peace. You keep us from fear, God. So we just say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Gosh, you guys, I'm so fired up. Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember to keep being wild for God. Because you know what? He needs some wild kids like us doing some things in the kingdom. All right. Y'all be blessed.